Mental Detox. How to clear your mind from overload. Imagine a day when you first felt like your mind was drowning in too much information. Maybe it was during an endless scroll through social media, or perhaps at work, when 5 urgent tasks all demanded your attention at once. Or maybe you caught yourself forgetting even simple things like a colleague's name or an important date because your brain was simply overwhelmed. We were promised that the age of information and technology would make our lives easier, more productive, more connected. But the truth is far more complicated. Instead of clarity and peace, we've been given a never-ending stream of notifications, news, tasks, and distractions that relentlessly bombard our minds. We live in a constant state of cognitive overload. You are not alone. This book is for those who are tired of feeling cornered by the weight of information chaos. It's for those who long to regain control over their focus, boost their productivity, and finally feel like their mind is a space they own rather than an arena for external distractions. Information noise has become a new form of pollution, an invisible one that empties our minds and disrupts our inner balance. In this book, you'll learn how to step out of that current. We will talk about how to filter information, how to reclaim your attention, and how to create a mentally clean space for yourself. But don't expect dry theory. I will guide you through practical steps that will help you free your mind. You will learn to recognize when information is starting to overwhelm you, how to properly organize your surroundings, and which habits actually work to maintain a clear mind. Each chapter is a step toward clarity. You will learn what information detox is, how to practice digital minimalism, how to sharpen your focus, and how to rest properly so your brain doesn't always feel under pressure. Can you imagine what your life will look like after this mental reset? I'm sure you can. Now, let's begin the journey to that freedom. Dive into the book, and not only will you learn how to break free from information overload, but you will also feel better, more productive, and calmer. Your ability to manage your attention and time will transform not only you, but also your relationships with the world around you. Chapter 1. What is information noise? Let's take a moment to think about the sheer amount of information you encounter every day. From the moment you wake up, your phone buzzes with notifications, social media feeds refresh, emails flood in, and the news blares the latest headlines. It feels like the world is demanding your attention constantly, right? But have you ever stopped to ask yourself how much of this information is actually useful? Most of what we encounter today is what I call information noise. It's the stuff that distracts us, clouds our thinking, and stops us from focusing on what really matters. Think about it like this. Information noise is like junk food for the mind. It's everywhere, and while it feels satisfying in the moment, it's not nourishing or valuable in the long run. So, what exactly is information noise? It's anything that fills your mind but doesn't help you grow, make better decisions, or improve your life. Think of the endless scroll through social media, those notifications that pull you out of focus, or the ads that pop up everywhere online. It's the constant clutter, the irrelevant updates, the clickbait headlines. It's all the stuff that takes up mental space but doesn't add real value. Now, let's break it down into a few key sources of this noise. First, social media. Social media platforms are designed to keep you scrolling. They play on our desire for connection and entertainment. But here's the thing. Most of what we see isn't enriching or important. It's distraction dressed up as connection. How many times have you caught yourself aimlessly scrolling and not really gaining anything meaningful from it? Next, the news. In today's world, we have 24-hour news cycles. Every headline is presented as breaking news, urgent, critical. But the truth is, most of it doesn't affect us directly, and it leaves us feeling stressed or anxious. There's always a new crisis, a new problem to worry about. It pulls our focus away from what we can control and makes us feel overwhelmed by things we can't. And then advertisements. They're everywhere, fighting for your attention. Sure, some of them may be useful, but let's be honest, most are just distractions. They disrupt your focus and try to convince you that you need things you probably don't. Finally, the workplace. How many times have you felt like you're being pulled in 100 different directions at work? Emails, meetings, sudden tasks, each one demanding your attention right now. It fragments your focus and leaves you feeling like you're constantly multitasking, but not truly accomplishing anything. All of this, the social media, the news, the ads, the workplace overload, it's information noise. And the more we engage with it, the more we lose our ability to focus, think clearly, and make meaningful progress. The impact of constant stimulation. We've become so used to this constant flood of information that we hardly even notice it anymore. But it's affecting us more than we realize. Our brains have become addicted to this stimulation. Every time your phone dings with a notification, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. It's the same chemical that makes you feel good when you achieve something. But in this case, it's not real achievement. It's just more noise. So what's the cost of this constant stimulation? Well, first, there's decision fatigue. When your brain is bombarded with too much information, making decisions becomes exhausting. Even the small choices, like what to eat for lunch, start to feel overwhelming because your mind is constantly juggling too much. Then there's mental clutter. Just like a cluttered desk makes it hard to find what you need, a cluttered mind makes it hard to focus or be creative. You might have great ideas, but they get lost in the noise. And let's not forget the reduced attention span. Have you ever found it difficult to sit down and read a book or focus on a single task for an extended period? That's information overload at work. We're training ourselves to jump from one thing to the next, and it's making it harder to focus on what's really important. Lastly, this constant barrage of information can lead to anxiety. The more we consume, especially from negative sources, the more anxious we feel. It's that sense of urgency and comparison that makes us feel like we're falling behind or that the world is constantly on the brink of disaster. Why do we let this happen? So, why do we live like this? Why do we allow ourselves to be constantly overloaded with information. The truth is, we're wired for it. Our brains evolved in a time when information was scarce, so we're naturally drawn to novelty and updates. Every new piece of data triggers our brain's reward system, making us want more. In the modern world, this creates a paradox. We crave more information, but too much of it is actually harmful to us. But here's the good news. You can change this. By understanding what information noise is and where it comes from, you've already taken the first step towards freeing your mind from it. In the next chapters, we'll explore practical strategies to reduce the noise, reclaim your mental space, and focus on what truly matters. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. How much of your day is spent on information noise, and how much could you gain by cutting it out, even just a little bit? Chapter 2, The Psychology of Overload. Let's take a step deeper into understanding what's really happening in our brains when we're constantly bombarded with information. We live in a time where we are more connected than ever, but this connection comes with a price. Our mental space is often stretched to its limits. To truly grasp why we feel so overwhelmed, we need to explore the psychology behind information overload and what it does to our mind and body. Imagine your brain as a computer. Every time you open a new tab, download a file, or run a program, the computer has to work harder to process everything. Eventually, it slows down, overheats, and maybe even crashes. That's exactly what happens to us when we're processing too much information at once. Our brains are amazing, but they have their limits. How the brain processes information. The human brain is built to process a certain amount of information at a time. It's incredible in its ability to filter, sort, and make sense of the world. But here's the catch. It evolved in a completely different environment. Our ancestors didn't have to deal with the constant influx of emails, notifications, and social media. They dealt with survival-based decisions like finding food, avoiding predators, and staying safe. Fast forward to today, and we're still using that same ancient brain to navigate a world that is much more complex. We're asking our brains to process massive amounts of data daily, and that's where the trouble begins. There's simply too much going on, and our minds can't keep up. When your brain gets overloaded, it's forced to take shortcuts. It becomes reactive instead of thoughtful. You may find yourself making quick decisions without fully thinking them through, jumping from task to task without completing anything, or feeling scattered and unable to focus on one thing for long. The impact on productivity and stress. Stress. Now, let's talk about how this overload affects two major areas of your life: your productivity and your stress levels. You've probably experienced this before. The more tasks you juggle, the less productive you feel. It's ironic, isn't it? We often think that by doing more, we're achieving more. But in reality, the more we try to take on, the less we can actually focus on getting done. This is called task switching. Every time you switch from one task to another, Checking an email while in the middle of writing a report, for example, your brain has to reset. This reset takes time and energy. It's like trying to walk through a revolving door that keeps spinning faster and faster. The more you switch, the harder it is to maintain momentum. As a result, tasks that should be simple start to feel difficult. You might forget small details, make careless mistakes, or find that it takes you twice as long to finish something as it should. This constant switching doesn't just hurt productivity, it's also incredibly stressful. And that's the other piece of the puzzle, stress. When your brain is overloaded with information, your body responds by releasing stress hormones like cortisol. These hormones prepare your body for action, but over time, they can lead to burnout. You might feel constantly on edge, have trouble sleeping, or experience that sinking feeling of being overwhelmed. Symptoms of information overload. Let's pause for a moment. As you listen to this, you might already be recognizing some of the symptoms of information overload in your own life. Do any of these sound familiar? Trouble focusing. You sit down to work on one task, but your mind keeps jumping to something else. Decision fatigue. Even small decisions feel exhausting because your brain is already juggling too much. Mental fog. You feel like your mind is running slower, and it's harder to come up with ideas or solve problems. Restlessness. It's difficult to relax because you're always thinking about the next thing you need to do. Emotional drain. You feel irritable or anxious, even when there's no immediate reason for it. If any of these symptoms resonate with you, don't worry, you're not alone. This is a modern-day struggle that almost everyone faces. But the good news is that once you recognize these signs, you can start making changes to relieve the pressure. Long-term consequences. Here's the part that we often don't think about. What happens if we don't address information overload? Over time, the consequences can be more serious than we realize. Chronic overload can lead to long-term issues like burnout, chronic stress, and even mental health challenges like anxiety or depression. On a physical level, the constant release of stress hormones can take a toll on your body. You might experience frequent headaches, high blood pressure, or trouble sleeping. It can also weaken your immune system, making you more susceptible to illness. Mentally, overload reduces your ability to think creatively, solve problems, and stay motivated. It's like driving a car with the emergency brake on. You can keep going, but eventually something's going to break down. Why? Understanding the psychology of overload matters. The key to breaking free from information overload starts with understanding what's happening in your brain. Once you see how overloaded your mind has become, you can begin to make changes. In the next chapters, we're going to explore practical strategies for reducing this overload. How to cut out the noise, reclaim your focus, and create a more balanced relationship with the information that surrounds you. For now, take a moment to reflect. How has information overload affected your life? Are you constantly multitasking, switching from one thing to another without ever finishing? Do you feel the weight of too much data pressing down on you? Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward reclaiming control. Chapter 3. Digital Minimalism, the first step to detox. Now that we understand what information overload is and how it affects our mind, body, and productivity, the next logical question is, how do we start clearing out the clutter? The answer lies in a concept that's been gaining momentum in recent years: digital minimalism. It's a powerful approach to taking back control of your life by reducing the amount of digital noise that bombards you every day. Digital minimalism is all about intentionality. It's about focusing only on the digital tools and platforms that add true value to your life while letting go of the rest. The goal isn't to go completely off the grid or abandon technology altogether. Instead, it's about being mindful of how and why you use digital tools, so you can make sure they're serving you, not overwhelming you. The principles of digital minimalism. Let's start with the core principles of digital minimalism. These are the guiding ideas that will help you reshape your relationship with technology. Be intentional about your digital use. Every time you pick up your phone or sit down at your computer, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it to complete a task, to communicate with someone, or simply out of habit? Many of us mindlessly check our devices without a clear purpose, and this is where digital minimalism begins. Start paying attention to when and why you use your digital tools. Prioritize quality over quantity. Digital minimalism encourages you to focus on high-quality interactions with technology instead of checking multiple social media platforms just for the sake of it. Think about which ones truly bring value to your life. Do you get something meaningful from them? If not, it might be time to reconsider whether they deserve your time and attention. Limit distractions. One of the biggest challenges in today's digital world is the constant stream of distractions. Notifications, alerts, and pop-ups are all designed to pull your attention away from whatever you're doing. To be a digital minimalist, you need to control the flow of these interruptions. Turn off non-essential notifications. Set specific times for checking your phone or email, and create boundaries that allow you to focus on what's important. Value real-life connections over digital ones. While technology can help us stay connected, it's important not to let it replace meaningful, face-to-face interactions. Digital minimalism encourages us to spend more time engaging with people in person, building stronger, deeper relationships that can't be replicated online. How to reduce the information you consume. The first step to practicing digital minimalism is to cut down the amount of information you consume on a daily basis. Think of this like going on an information diet. Just as we make choices about what we eat, we can also make choices about what information we allow into our minds. Start by identifying the most common sources of information noise in your life. Is it social media, news websites, email? Once you know where the bulk of your distractions are coming from, you can start to cut back. Here are some practical tips to help you reduce the digital clutter. Unsubscribe from unnecessary email lists. We all have inboxes overflowing with newsletters, promotions, and updates that we never read. Take a few minutes to unsubscribe from anything that doesn't provide real value. This simple step can significantly reduce the amount of digital noise in your life. Delete or deactivate unused social media accounts. Do you really need to be on every platform? Take a hard look at how each social media site is contributing to your life. If it's not adding anything meaningful, consider deactivating your account or simply deleting the app from your phone. Set boundaries for news consumption. News can be a major source of stress and information overload. Instead of constantly refreshing news websites or checking the latest headlines, set specific times during the day to catch up on the news. Limit your exposure to just the most important updates. Create no phone zones. Designate areas of your home or times of the day where you won't use your phone or other devices. For example, you could make your bedroom a phone-free zone or commit to no screen time during meals. These small changes can help you reclaim some of your mental space. Practical tips for reducing screen time. Now, let's talk about practical ways to reduce your screen time. If you feel like you're always attached to a screen, whether it's your phone, computer, or TV, it's time to take a step back. Here are a few simple techniques you can start using today. Track your screen time. Most smartphones now have built-in tools that track how much time you spend on your device each day and which apps you use the most. Start by reviewing this data. You might be surprised by how much time is spent mindlessly scrolling. Once you have a clear picture, set limits for yourself. You can use the same tracking tools to cap your screen time for certain apps or activities. Schedule offline time. Just like you schedule meetings or appointments, you can schedule time to disconnect from your devices. Block off time in your day to go for a walk, read a book, or spend time with loved ones. Completely tech-free. Use apps to help you unplug. Ironically, there are apps designed to help you spend less time on your phone. Apps like Forest or Moment can track your phone usage and encourage you to put your device down by rewarding you for staying focused or growing a virtual tree as you disconnect. Reclaim your mornings and evenings. One of the best ways to start practicing digital minimalism is to reclaim the beginning and end of your day. Instead of reaching for your phone the moment you wake up, try starting your morning with something else, whether it's stretching, journaling, or simply enjoying a quiet cup of coffee. At night, avoid scrolling right before bed. The blue light from your devices can interfere with your sleep, and you'll benefit from unwinding without screens before going to sleep. Examples of digital minimalists. Many well-known figures have embraced digital minimalism to improve their focus, creativity, and well-being. Take, for example, Cal Newport, author of Digital Minimalism and Deep Work. Newport famously avoids social media altogether, choosing to focus his energy on deep, meaningful work without the distractions of constant notifications and online chatter. Or think about former tech executives like Tristan Harris, who has spent years advocating for more mindful and intentional use of technology. He's worked to raise awareness about how addictive our devices can be and how we can break free from that cycle. By following these examples, you too can start to practice digital minimalism and reclaim your mental clarity. The freedom of digital minimalism. At its core, digital minimalism is about creating more freedom in your life. Freedom from distractions, from unnecessary noise, and from the constant demands of your devices. When you start cutting back, you'll quickly notice how much lighter you feel. You'll have more time, more focus, and more mental space to invest in the things that really matter. Imagine waking up without the urge to check your phone first thing in the morning. Imagine being able to sit down and fully concentrate on your work without interruptions. Imagine feeling more connected to the people around you because you're spending less time glued to a screen. That's the power of digital minimalism. Chapter 4, Managing Attention. Let's talk about something that is becoming more and more of a luxury in our modern world: attention. In today's digital age, attention is one of your most valuable assets. But here's the catch. Everyone is competing for it. From social media platforms to advertisers. But every second of your focus is being fought over. And if you're not careful, you'll find that your attention is constantly fragmented, leaving you feeling scattered and unproductive. But what if you could take control of your attention and focus it where it really matters? That's what we're going to explore in this chapter. You'll learn how to sharpen your ability to concentrate, stay on task, and resist the distractions that pull you away from what's important. The science of attention. To manage your attention, it helps to understand a little bit about how it works. Think of your attention like a spotlight. Wherever that spotlight shines, that's where your focus is directed. But here's the thing. Your spotlight of attention is limited. You can't shine it everywhere at once. If you try, it becomes diffused and weak, making it harder to stay focused on any one thing. When your attention is divided between multiple tasks, like checking emails, scrolling through social media, and working on a project at the same time, your brain has to constantly switch back and forth. This is known as task switching, and it's one of the biggest enemies of productivity. Every time you switch tasks, your brain has to reset, which wastes mental energy and slows you down. This is why multitasking is actually a myth. You might think you're getting more done by juggling multiple things at once, but in reality, you're just making it harder for your brain to perform at its best. The power of deep work. One of the most effective ways to manage your attention is by practicing what's known as deep work. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It's the kind of focus that allows you to produce high-quality work, think creatively, and solve complex problems. Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, explains that in today's world, deep work is becoming increasingly rare, but also increasingly valuable. The ability to concentrate deeply on one thing for an extended period of time is a superpower that can set you apart in both your professional and personal life. So how do you cultivate deep work in a world full of distractions? Let's go over a few strategies that will help you manage your attention and train your mind to focus. Strategies for improving focus. Create focus blocks. One of the most effective ways to manage your attention is by setting aside specific blocks of time dedicated to deep work. During these blocks, eliminate as many distractions as possible. Turn off your phone, close unnecessary tabs on your computer, and let others know that you're unavailable. Even if it's just for an hour, This uninterrupted time will allow your brain to dive into a task fully. Use the Pomodoro technique. If the idea of long focus blocks seems intimidating, try breaking your work into shorter intervals using the Pomodoro technique. This method involves working for 25 minutes, followed by a 5-minute break. After 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break, typically around 15-30 minutes. This technique can help you build endurance for focused work and gives your brain short breaks to recharge. Limit digital distractions. We talked about digital minimalism in the last chapter, and it's essential for managing attention as well. Limit your exposure to notifications, social media, and non-essential emails during work hours. You can even use tools like website blockers to prevent yourself from accessing distracting sites while you're working. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for improving focus. By training yourself to stay present in the moment, you can reduce the urge to multitask or get lost in distractions. Try incorporating short mindfulness practices into your day, such as deep breathing or meditation, to help center your attention. Single tasking over multitasking. Instead of trying to do everything at once, commit to doing one thing at a time. When you're working on a project, give it your full attention. When you're with family or friends, be fully present. Single tasking allows you to give your best effort to whatever you're doing, rather than spreading your attention thin across multiple things. The role of flow in attention. Now, let's talk about a state that many of us have experienced but might not fully understand. Flow. Flow is that magical state where you become so absorbed in what you're doing that you lose track of time. It's when you're completely immersed in a task and everything else seems to fade away. Flow is not just about focus. It's about finding the right balance between challenge and skill. When the task you're working on is difficult enough to keep you engaged, but not so hard that it feels impossible, you're more likely to enter a flow state. Achieving flow can have a powerful impact on your ability to manage attention because it allows you to become fully engaged in a task. To increase your chances of entering flow, try these tips. Work on something you're passionate about. Flow is more likely to happen when you're deeply interested in the task at hand. Set clear goals. Having a clear objective helps your mind stay focused and prevents distractions. Eliminate interruptions. Flow requires sustained attention, so minimize any potential distractions before you start working. Attention is a muscle. Think of attention as a muscle that you can strengthen over time. The more you practice focusing your attention, the better you'll become at it. Just like going to the gym to build physical strength, you need to train your brain to focus in a world full of distractions. Start small. Set aside short periods of time each day to practice deep focus. Gradually increase the length of time as you build your mental endurance. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. There will always be distractions. The key is learning to manage them and bring your attention back to the task at hand. The benefits of better attention management. By learning to manage your attention, you'll notice profound changes in your life. Increased productivity. When you're focused, you can get more done in less time. Improved creativity. A clear, focused mind is more likely to come up with innovative solutions and ideas, less stress. With fewer distractions, you'll feel less overwhelmed and more in control of your day. Better relationships. When you're fully present with others, your connections deepen and your conversations become more meaningful. Imagine how different your life could be if you were able to focus on the things that matter most. By managing your attention, you'll not only improve your productivity, but you'll also find more peace and fulfillment in everything you do. Chapter 5. How to distinguish the important from the trivial. We've all been there, faced with a mountain of tasks, notifications, and information, trying to figure out what actually matters. But here's the truth. Not all information is equal. Some of it demands your full attention, while a lot of it is just noise, distracting, trivial, and unimportant. So, how do you separate the important from the trivial in a world where everything seems urgent? That's exactly what we're going to dive into in this chapter. By learning to prioritize, you can start focusing on what truly matters and free yourself from the constant barrage of distractions. The principle of prioritization. The first thing you need to know about prioritizing information is this. Not everything is worth your time. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that you need to respond to every email, keep up with every news update, or follow every task on your to-do list. But the key to managing information overload is being selective about where you direct your focus. You can think of your priorities like a funnel. At the top of the funnel is all the information that comes your way. Emails, news, social media updates, work tasks, personal errands. But as you move down the funnel, you need to start filtering out the things that aren't truly important. By the time you reach the bottom, only the most critical and meaningful tasks remain. Questions to ask when prioritizing. To figure out what's important and what's not, here are a few questions you can ask yourself. Does this task or information directly impact my goals? If something aligns with your personal or professional goals, it's likely important. If it doesn't, then it might just be noise. For example, if your goal is to complete a big project at work, responding to every minor email may not be the best use of your time. Will this matter a month from now? Many things feel urgent in the moment, but they won't matter in the long run. Before diving into a task, ask yourself if it's something that will have lasting significance. If the answer is no, it might not be worth your immediate attention. Is this something I can delegate or eliminate? Sometimes we feel the need to do everything ourselves, but in reality, not every task requires your direct involvement. Look for opportunities to delegate tasks to others or eliminate them altogether if they don't serve a real purpose. Is this aligned with my values? In a world full of distractions, it's easy to get pulled into tasks or information that don't align with your values or what you truly care about. Always take a step back and ask yourself if what you're focusing on is contributing to a meaningful life or career. The Eisenhower Matrix, a tool for prioritization. One practical tool you can use to help distinguish between the important and the trivial is the Eisenhower Matrix. Named after former U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower. This simple matrix helps you categorize tasks into 4 quadrants based on urgency and importance. Urgent and important. These are the tasks you should tackle immediately. They require your full attention because they have a direct impact on your goals or well-being. Examples might include a critical work deadline or handling a family emergency. Important but not urgent. These tasks are important, but they don't require immediate action. However, they should still be scheduled and worked on proactively. Things like long-term planning, personal development, or building relationships often fall into this category. Urgent but not important. These are tasks that feel urgent but don't contribute to your bigger goals. They often create unnecessary stress because they demand your immediate attention, but they're not truly valuable in the long run. Think of tasks like checking non-essential emails or dealing with minor interruptions. Not urgent and not important. These are the distractions, the tasks that waste time and add little value to your life. Social media scrolling, watching too much TV, or getting lost in trivial details are all examples. These should be minimized or eliminated. By using the Eisenhower matrix, you can start to sort through the noise and focus on the things that will move you forward. Developing critical thinking. Another essential skill for distinguishing the important from the trivial is critical thinking. Critical thinking is your ability to analyze information, question assumptions, and make informed decisions. In a world filled with conflicting ideas, biased news, and endless opinions, critical thinking helps you cut through the noise. Here are a few ways to develop your critical thinking. Question the source. Not all information is created equal. Before accepting something as fact, ask yourself where it's coming from. Is the source credible? Is there bias involved? Being selective about the information you trust will help you focus on what truly matters. Look for patterns. Instead of reacting to every new piece of information, step back and look for patterns. Are there recurring themes or trend patterns that give you insight into what's important? By identifying patterns, you can focus on the bigger picture rather than getting bogged down in the details. Challenge your assumptions. We all have biases and assumptions that shape how we see the world. But if you want to develop strong critical thinking, you need to be willing to challenge those assumptions. Be open to new perspectives, and don't be afraid to question your own beliefs. Ask why more often. When faced with a new piece of information, ask yourself why it's important. Why does it matter? Why should you care? This simple question can help you separate the meaningful from the meaningless. Reducing the noise, letting go of trivial information. Now that we've covered how to identify what's important, let's talk about how to let go of what's not. One of the biggest challenges we face is the constant influx of trivial information. Things like celebrity gossip, random social media posts, or the latest viral trends. These things may be entertaining, but they often add little value to our lives. Here are a few ways to reduce the trivial noise. Unfollow or mute distractions. On social media, It's easy to get caught up in following accounts that don't really enrich your life. Take some time to unfollow or mute the accounts that contribute to the noise. Instead, follow people and organizations that inspire or educate you. Limit media consumption. You don't need to keep up with every news story or trending topic. Set limits on how much time you spend consuming media and choose high-quality sources of information. By being selective, you can stay informed without feeling overwhelmed. Simplify your to-do list. When you're faced with a long list of tasks, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Simplify your to-do list by focusing only on the most important tasks. If something isn't truly necessary, consider removing it altogether. Practice digital detoxes. Every now and then, take a break from digital distractions altogether. Whether it's a day off from social media or a weekend without email, these breaks can help you reset and focus on what really matters. Conclusion: focusing on what matters. At the end of the day, the goal is to focus on the things that add value to your life and align with your goals. By learning to distinguish the important from the trivial, you'll find that you have more time, energy, and mental clarity to devote to the things that matter most. Imagine how much more fulfilling your life could be if you spent less time reacting to trivial distractions and more time working on meaningful projects, building relationships, or pursuing your passions. That's the power of prioritization, and it's something you can start practicing today. Chapter 6. Detox Strategies for Body and Mind. Now that we've explored how to manage your attention and focus on what's important, it's time to take a holistic approach to mental detox by integrating strategies that benefit both your mind and body. In this chapter, we'll dive into physical and mental practices that work together to help you clear your mind, reduce stress, and maintain a healthy balance between work, rest, and self-care. You see, mental detox is not just about filtering the information you consume. It's also about giving your body and mind the time and space they need to recover and recharge. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention, but we often forget that to function at our best, we need to step back, slow down, and practice mindful self-care. The mind-body connection. Before we dive into specific strategies, let's talk about the mind-body connection. Your mental health is deeply influenced by your physical well-being and vice versa. When your body is tense, tired, or unhealthy, it affects your ability to think clearly and manage stress. Similarly, when your mind is overwhelmed or stressed, it can manifest physically, leading to headaches, muscle tension, or fatigue. This is why it's so important to treat your mind and body as one integrated system. By taking care of your physical health, you're also nurturing your mental health. And by practicing mental detox, you're giving your body the chance to heal and restore its energy. Physical practices for mental clarity. Let's start with some physical practices that can help support a mental detox. These activities aren't just about fitness. They're about releasing tension, calming the nervous system, and giving your brain a break from the constant flood of information. Yoga. Yoga is a powerful tool for both physical and mental relaxation. It combines mindful movement with deep breathing, helping to reduce stress, improve focus, and release physical tension. Regular yoga practices can help you feel more grounded and centered, making it easier to stay mentally clear and focused throughout the day. You don't need to commit to long, intensive sessions. Even just 10 to 15 minutes of simple yoga stretches can have a profound effect on your mental state. The key is to focus on the breath and the present moment, allowing your mind to unwind as your body moves. Exercise. Physical exercise is one of the best ways to clear your mind and boost your mood. When you exercise, your brain releases endorphins, chemicals that naturally reduce stress and improve your sense of well-being. Regular physical activity can also help improve your sleep, increase your energy levels, and enhance your ability to concentrate. You don't have to engage in intense workouts to experience these benefits. Even a brisk walk outdoors can help refresh your mind and break the cycle of overthinking. The important thing is to move your body regularly, giving both your mind and body a chance to release built-up tension. Mindful breathing. When we're stressed or overwhelmed, our breathing tends to become shallow and rapid, which can make us feel even more anxious. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to detox your mind is to practice mindful breathing. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and take a deep breath in through your nose, counting to 4. Hold the breath for a moment, and then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. Repeat this process several times, focusing entirely on your breath. This helps calm your nervous system, slow down your thoughts, and bring your focus back to the present. The importance of rest and sleep. One of the most powerful detox strategies for your mind and body is something that many of us tend to overlook: sleep. In a world that glorifies busyness, it's easy to sacrifice sleep in the name of productivity. But the truth is, sleep is one of the most important factors in maintaining mental clarity and emotional balance. When you sleep, your brain goes through a cleaning process, clearing out toxins that build up during the day and solidifying memories and learning. Lack of sleep doesn't just make you feel tired. It clouds your thinking, reduces your focus, and makes it harder to manage stress. Tips for better sleep. If you've been struggling to get enough rest, here are a few tips to improve your sleep quality. Create a bedtime routine. Just like children benefit from a consistent bedtime routine, adults can too. Establish a calming pre-sleep routine that signals to your brain that it's time to wind down. This could include reading a book, stretching, or practicing deep breathing exercises. Limit screen time before bed. The blue light emitted by phones, computers, and TVs interferes with your body's ability to produce melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep. Try to avoid screens for at least 30 minutes before going to bed. Instead, opt for relaxing activities that help you unwind. Create a sleep-friendly environment. Make sure your bedroom is conducive to sleep. Keep the room cool, dark, and quiet. If necessary, use blackout curtains or a white noise machine to block out any disruptive noises. Stick to a sleep schedule. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day helps regulate your body's internal clock. Try to keep a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends, to promote better sleep quality. Mental detox through mindfulness. Now, let's shift our focus to the mind. One of the most effective ways to detox your mind is through mindfulness, the practice of staying fully present and aware in the moment. Mindfulness helps you let go of distractions, reduce stress, and gain clarity. Here are a few mindfulness practices that can support your mental detox. Meditation. Meditation is one of the most well-known mindfulness practices, and for good reason. It's a powerful way to quiet the mind, reduce anxiety, and increase focus. If you've never meditated before, don't worry, it doesn't have to be complicated. Simply find a quiet space, sit comfortably, and focus on your breath. Whenever your mind starts to wander, gently bring your attention back to your breathing. You can start with just 5 to 10 minutes of meditation each day and gradually increase the time as you become more comfortable with the practice. Over time, you'll notice that your ability to stay calm and focused improves even in the midst of distractions. Gratitude practice. Gratitude is another powerful tool for mental detox. By focusing on what you're grateful for, you shift your attention away from stress and negative thinking. Each day, take a few moments to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for, whether it's something as simple as a good cup of coffee or a meaningful conversation with a friend. This simple practice can have a profound impact on your mental state, helping you stay grounded and focused on the positive aspects of life. Journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can be an incredibly therapeutic way to clear your mind. Journaling allows you to process emotions, organize your thoughts, and release mental clutter. You don't need to follow any specific structure. Just write whatever comes to mind. The goal is to get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper, freeing up mental space for more productive thinking. Incorporating mental detox into your daily life. Mental and physical detox isn't something you do once and forget about. It's a practice that you can incorporate into your daily life. By making small, consistent changes, you can create a healthier, more balanced routine that supports both your mental clarity and overall well-being. Start by adding just 1 or 2 of these strategies into your day. Maybe you begin with a short meditation session in the morning, or you commit to going for a 10-minute walk during your lunch break. Over time, these small habits will add up, helping you feel more focused, calm, and energized. Conclusion: a balanced approach to mental detox. At its core, mental detox is about balance, balancing the demands of modern life with your need for rest, focus, and clarity. By taking care of both your mind and body, you'll be better equipped to handle the challenges of daily life without feeling overwhelmed. Imagine feeling refreshed and focused each day, free from the constant stress of information overload. With the right strategies, you can achieve that balance, giving both your mind and body the space they need to thrive. Chapter 7. The Information Diet. Now that we've explored strategies for detoxing your mind and body, it's time to focus on the information you consume. Just like the food you eat affects your physical health, the information you take in shapes your mental well-being. In this chapter, we'll dive into the concept of the information diet, how to consciously choose the types and sources of information that nourish your mind rather than overwhelm it. We live in a world where information is available at every turn. From the moment you wake up, there's an endless supply of news, social media updates, articles, and videos waiting for your attention. The challenge is to avoid mindlessly consuming all of it and instead curate an information diet that feeds your mind with quality, not just quantity. What is an information diet? The idea of an information diet is simple. It's about being intentional with the information you consume, just like you would with the food you eat. Imagine if you ate junk food all day, every day. It would drain your energy, make you feel sluggish, and negatively affect your health. The same thing happens with the information you consume. If you're constantly taking in low-quality, irrelevant, or stressful information, it clutters your mind and drains your mental energy. On the other hand, when you're selective about the information you allow into your life, you can fuel your mind with knowledge, inspiration, and focus. The goal of an information diet is to consume only the information that aligns with your goals, values, and well-being, what feeds your mind. Before we dive into how to improve your information diet, let's first take a look at what's currently feeding your mind. Ask yourself, what types of information do I consume the most? Is it news, social media, entertainment, work-related content? How much of this information is helpful and how much of it is just noise? Does the information I consume make me feel informed and empowered, or does it leave me feeling overwhelmed or anxious? By reflecting on these questions, you'll begin to see patterns in your information consumption. You might notice that you're spending hours scrolling through social media, reading articles that don't really matter, or keeping up with news stories that leave you stressed. Choosing high-quality information. One of the most important steps in creating a healthy information diet is learning to choose high-quality information. High-quality information is content that enriches your life, helps you achieve your goals, or inspires you in a meaningful way. It's the kind of information that, when consumed, leaves you feeling better, not worse. Here are some ways to identify high-quality information. Is it relevant to your goals? If you're working on a personal or professional goal, focus on consuming information that directly helps you achieve that. For example, if you're learning a new skill or developing your career, seek out resources that provide valuable knowledge or practical insights in that area. Is it from a credible source? In the age of misinformation, it's more important than ever to ensure that the information you're consuming comes from reliable and trustworthy sources. Double-check facts, look for expert opinions, and be mindful of bias or sensationalism. Does it provide depth, not just surface-level content? Some information is designed to grab your attention without offering much substance. High-quality content, on the other hand, dives deep into a topic, offering analysis, thoughtful perspectives, and well-researched insights. Look for content that challenges your thinking or provides you with a fresh perspective. Does it align with your values? Think about your core values. Is the information you're consuming helping you live in alignment with those values? Or is it pulling you in the opposite direction? For example, if you value personal growth, consuming content that inspires self-improvement will align with that value. Reducing low-quality information. Just as important as choosing high-quality information is learning to cut out the low-quality information that's cluttering your mind. Low-quality information is content that doesn't add value to your life. It's the mental equivalent of junk food. This might include sensationalist news, headlines designed to provoke emotional reactions rather than inform, mindless social media, endless scrolling through content that doesn't inspire, educate, or connect you with others meaningfully. Clickbait articles. Content that grabs your attention with catchy titles but offers little substance once you click through. Unnecessary emails or notifications, messages that interrupt your focus but aren't truly important. Here are some practical tips for reducing low-quality information. Unfollow or mute irrelevant accounts. On social media, you don't have to follow every person, brand, or publication. Take some time to unfollow or mute accounts that don't bring value to your feed. Instead, curate a feed filled with content that enriches your mind and aligns with your goals. Set boundaries for news consumption. It's easy to get caught up in the 24-hour news cycle, but not all of it is essential for your daily life. Choose trusted news sources and limit your time spent reading or watching the news. You can stay informed without becoming overwhelmed. Reduce email clutter. Unsubscribe from newsletters or mailing lists that you never read. You can use tools like Unrolled Me to easily manage email subscriptions. Reducing email clutter helps you focus on the messages that truly matter. Turn off non-essential notifications. Constant notifications can pull your attention away from more meaningful activities. Disable non-essential notifications on your phone and computer so you can focus without interruptions. Creating a balanced information diet. Just like a healthy food diet includes a balance of different nutrients, a balanced information diet should include a variety of content that enriches different areas of your life. You don't have to eliminate entertainment or social media completely. After all, relaxation and enjoyment are important too. The key is balance. Here's how you can create a more balanced information diet. Incorporate educational content. Make sure you're regularly consuming content that challenges you to learn and grow. This could be reading books or articles in your area of interest, listening to podcasts, or watching educational videos. Educational content should stimulate your mind and help you gain new skills or insights. Add inspirational content. Inspiration can come from many places, whether it's hearing someone's personal story, learning about an innovative idea, or finding new motivation for your goals. Seek out content that uplifts and energizes you. Allow for entertainment, but in moderation. Entertainment can be a great way to relax and unwind, but too much of it can lead to mental overload. Be mindful of how much time you spend consuming entertainment and make sure it's not taking up the majority of your day. Engage with content that helps you grow personally. Whether it's mindfulness practices, self-improvement resources, or stories that encourage reflection, include content that supports your personal development and mental well-being. Building healthier information habits. Creating a healthy information diet isn't just about what you consume. It's also about how you consume it. Developing healthy habits around information consumption can help you stay mindful and intentional in your daily life. Here are some habits to build. Practice intentional consumption. Before you dive into reading an article or scrolling through your phone, ask yourself why you're doing it. Are you seeking out something specific, or are you just looking for distraction? By being more intentional, you can avoid falling into the trap of mindless browsing. Schedule time for information. Set aside specific times in your day for consuming information, whether it's checking the news, reading, or catching up on social media. Outside of those times, try to stay focused on your other tasks and goals. Be selective about your sources. Not all sources of information are created equal. Choose sources that are reputable, well-researched, and aligned with your values. It's better to have a few trusted sources than to overwhelm yourself with too much information from too many places. Reflect on your information diet regularly. Take time to assess how your information diet is affecting your mental state. Are you feeling more focused and clear-headed, or are you still overwhelmed? Adjust your habits as needed to create a healthier balance. Conclusion: fueling your mind for success. A healthy information diet is one of the most powerful ways to take control of your mental clarity and well-being. By being mindful of the information you consume, you'll not only reduce the clutter in your mind, but you'll also open yourself up to learning, growth, and inspiration. Imagine feeling more focused, informed, and inspired each day, simply because you've curated an information diet that supports your goals and values. This is the power of intentional consumption, and it's something you can start practicing today. Chapter 8: Strategies for Effective Reading and Information Consumption. Now that you've learned about the importance of a healthy information diet, the next step is learning how to effectively consume that information. It's not just about cutting out the noise, but also about optimizing the way you take in the information that matters most. In this chapter, we'll explore strategies for reading efficiently, processing large volumes of data without feeling overwhelmed, and finding the balance between learning and rest. We're surrounded by more information than any generation before us. While that gives us incredible access to knowledge, it also presents a challenge. How do you consume all of this information without feeling overloaded? The key is not necessarily to read more, but to read smarter. Let's look at how you can do just that. The art of efficient reading. One of the best ways to improve your information consumption is by learning to read more efficiently. Efficient reading doesn't mean speed reading. It means reading in a way that helps you absorb the most important ideas without getting bogged down in unnecessary details. Here are a few tips to help you read more effectively. Skim first. Read later. Not every piece of text deserves a deep read. When you're faced with a book, article, or report, start by skimming the content to get a sense of the main points. Look at the headings, subheadings, and any highlighted or bolded text. This gives you a mental roadmap of what's coming and helps you decide which sections are worth your full attention. Focus on key takeaways. Every book or article has key takeaways, the main ideas or arguments the author wants you to remember. Instead of getting lost in every detail, focus on identifying these key takeaways. Ask yourself, what is the core message here? Once you've grasped the main idea, you can move on rather than spending unnecessary time on every word. Use the Feynman technique. The Feynman technique is a method for ensuring you truly understand what you're reading. Here's how it works. After reading a section, explain the concept in your own words as if you were teaching it to someone else. If you can explain it simply and clearly, you've truly grasped the concept. If not, go back and review the material until you can. This method helps you engage more deeply with the content and ensures that the information sticks. Take notes or highlight strategically. Highlighting or taking notes can be useful, but be strategic about it. Don't highlight entire paragraphs or make extensive notes on everything you read. Instead, focus on marking only the most important points. This forces you to think critically about the text and prevents you from getting bogged down in less significant details. Read with a purpose. Before you start reading, set a clear intention. Ask yourself, why am I reading this? Whether it's to solve a specific problem, learn a new skill, or gain inspiration, having a purpose in mind helps you stay focused and absorb the most relevant information. Processing large volumes of information. In today's world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information you need to process, whether for work, learning, or personal development. But with the right strategies, you can process large volumes of information efficiently without feeling overloaded. Chunking information. Chunking is a technique where you break down large pieces of information into smaller, manageable chunks. Instead of trying to absorb everything at once, focus on one section or idea at a time. This makes the material easier to understand and remember. For example, if you're reading a long report, divide it into sections and tackle them one by one, rather than attempting to read the whole thing in one sitting. Mind mapping. Mind mapping is a visual way to organize information. Start by writing the main topic in the center of a page, then branch out with subtopics, connecting ideas as you go. This technique helps you see the relationships between different concepts and allows you to process information more holistically. Mind mapping can be particularly useful when you're dealing with complex topics or large amounts of data. Summarize as you go. After finishing each section of a book or article, take a moment to summarize the key points in your own words. This helps reinforce what you've just read and ensures that you're actively processing the information rather than just passively consuming it. Use technology to your advantage. There are many tools available that can help you process large volumes of information more efficiently. Apps like Instapaper or Pocket allow you to save articles for later and read them in a distraction-free format. Tools like Readwise help you manage and revisit your highlights from books or articles, ensuring that the important information doesn't get lost over time. Don't be afraid to skip. Sometimes the best way to manage large volumes of information is to recognize when something isn't worth your time. Not every article or chapter is going to be valuable, and that's okay. If a section doesn't seem relevant or useful to your goals, feel free to skip it and move on to the next thing. Finding the balance between learning and rest. One of the biggest mistakes people make when consuming information is thinking that more is always better. But just like your body needs rest after physical exertion, your brain needs time to rest and process the information you've absorbed. Overloading your mind with too much content at once can actually be counterproductive. Here are a few tips for finding the balance between learning and rest. Take breaks. When you're working through a lot of material, it's important to take regular breaks. Research shows that our brains can only focus deeply for about 90 minutes at a time before they start to lose efficiency. Schedule short breaks between reading sessions to give your mind a chance to rest and reset. Use the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique, which we discussed in an earlier chapter, is also useful for reading and learning. Break your study or reading time into 25-minute intervals, followed by a 5-minute break. This keeps your brain fresh and helps prevent burnout. Sleep is key to retention. Your brain processes and consolidates information while you sleep. If you've been reading or studying intensely, a good night's sleep helps transfer what you've learned from short-term memory into long-term memory. Make sure you're getting enough rest, especially after days when you've consumed a lot of information. Active relaxation. Active relaxation involves engaging in low-stress, enjoyable activities that don't require intense focus, but still allow your brain to rest and recover. This could be going for a walk, practicing a hobby, or spending time with friends. These activities give your mind a break while still keeping you engaged in the world around you. Techniques for retaining what you read. Now that you've improved your reading efficiency and learned how to balance learning with rest, let's talk about how to retain the information you consume. Retention is key. There's no point in reading or learning something if it's going to slip away from memory soon after. Spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is a technique that involves reviewing information at increasing intervals over time. Instead of trying to memorize everything at once, review the material after a day, then after a few days, and again after a week. This technique strengthens your memory and helps ensure that the information sticks. Teach what you've learned. One of the best ways to retain information is to teach it to someone else. When you explain a concept to others, you reinforce your own understanding and fill in any gaps in your knowledge. You don't need to formally teach. Just sharing what you've learned with a friend, colleague, or even journaling about it can help. Apply what you've learned. Knowledge is much more likely to stick when it's applied in real life. After reading about a new concept or idea, look for ways to put it into practice. Whether it's applying a new skill at work or making a change in your personal life, actively using what you've learned helps solidify the information in your memory. The power of intentional learning. Effective reading and information consumption are about more than just taking in data. They're about being intentional, selective, and strategic with how you learn. By improving your reading techniques, balancing learning with rest, and focusing on retention, you can process and absorb information in a way that's both efficient and sustainable. Imagine a life where you're not overwhelmed by the amount of information around you, but instead empowered by the knowledge you choose to consume. With the right strategies, you can unlock the full potential of your mind and make learning a more rewarding and enriching part of your life. Chapter 9. Clearing your mind under pressure at work. Work can be one of the biggest sources of mental overload, especially when you're dealing with tight deadlines, multiple tasks, and constant interruptions. But it doesn't have to be that way. In this chapter, we're going to focus on how to clear your mind and stay productive even when you're under pressure at work. You'll learn practical techniques to manage tasks effectively, reduce stress, and create a work environment that supports mental clarity. We've all experienced it, that overwhelming feeling when your to-do list is a mile long, emails keep flooding in, and there's a constant stream of meetings or interruptions. Your brain feels like it's being pulled in every direction, and it becomes nearly impossible to concentrate on any one task. But here's the truth. You have more control over this than you think. Let's explore how to regain that control, the power of prioritization at work. One of the most important skills to develop when you're feeling overwhelmed at work is effective prioritization. Not all tasks are created equal, and part of reducing mental overload is learning how to distinguish between what's urgent, what's important, and what can wait. Here's how you can prioritize your workload under pressure. Start with a brain dump. When your mind is cluttered with too many tasks and thoughts, it can help to get everything out of your head and onto paper. This process is called a brain dump. Take a few minutes to write down every activity and obligation that's weighing on you. Don't worry about organizing it just yet. Just focus on clearing your mind by getting it all down. Use the Eisenhower matrix. As we discussed in a previous chapter, the Eisenhower matrix is an excellent tool for prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance. Once you've done your brain dump, categorize each task into one of the 4 quadrants: urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, not urgent and not important. Focus your time and energy on tasks that are both urgent and important, and delegate or postpone the rest. The rule of 3. Each day, identify the 3 most important tasks you need to accomplish. These should be tasks that will move the needle forward on your most critical projects or goals. By limiting yourself to 3 key tasks, you can maintain focus and avoid getting distracted by lower priority tasks. Chunk your time. Time chunking, also known as time blocking, involves dividing your day into specific blocks of time dedicated to different tasks. This allows you to focus deeply on one task at a time without constantly switching between them. For example, You could block off the first 2 hours of your day for deep work on a critical project, then dedicate an hour to handling emails. Managing interruptions and distractions. One of the biggest challenges at work is dealing with interruptions, whether it's colleagues stopping by, constant email notifications, or urgent requests that derail your focus. These distractions can break your flow and make it difficult to complete even the simplest tasks. Here are some strategies for managing interruptions and staying focused. Create boundaries. If you work in an office or a shared space, interruptions from colleagues can be a major source of distraction. Set clear boundaries by letting others know when you're unavailable for non-urgent conversations. You can do this by closing your office door, using noise-canceling headphones, or setting up a simple Do Not Disturb signal. Batch similar tasks together. Switching between tasks can be mentally exhausting, especially when they require different types of thinking. Instead of jumping between tasks, try batching similar tasks together. For example, dedicate a specific block of time to answering emails, another block to meetings, and another to deep work. This reduces task switching and helps you stay focused. Turn off notifications. Constant notifications from your phone or computer can break your concentration and pull you away from important work. Turn off non-essential notifications during your work hours, especially when you're focusing on high-priority tasks. You can always check your messages during designated breaks. Use a timer to stay focused. Sometimes the pressure of having too many tasks can make it difficult to start any of them. If you're struggling to focus, use a timer. To stay on track, set a timer for 20 or 30 minutes and commit to working on just one task during that time. This method, often called the Pomodoro technique, helps create a sense of urgency and prevents procrastination. Learning to say no. At work, it's easy to fall into the trap of saying yes to every request or assignment, even when your plate is already full. But constantly agreeing to take on more tasks can lead to burnout and mental exhaustion. One of the most powerful ways to clear your mind at work is by learning to say no when appropriate. Here's how you can do it effectively. Be honest about your capacity. If you're already stretched thin, it's better to be honest about your workload than to take on additional tasks that you can't realistically handle. When someone asks you to take on a new project, politely explain that you're currently focused on other priorities and wouldn't be able to give the new task the attention it deserves. Offer an alternative solution. If you're unable to take on a task but still want to be helpful, offer an alternative solution. This could mean suggesting someone else who might be able to assist or proposing a later time when you'd be available to help. This shows that you're still engaged and willing to contribute, but within your limits. Set clear expectations. When you do take on new tasks, be clear about your availability and deadlines. This helps manage expectations and prevents misunderstandings. For example, if a colleague asks for something urgently, but you know you won't be able to get to it right away, let them know when they can realistically expect the task to be completed. The importance of organization. A cluttered workspace often leads to a cluttered mind. If your desk, computer, or inbox is overflowing with papers, files, and emails, it can be difficult to stay focused and productive. Taking the time to organize your workspace is a simple but effective way to clear mental clutter. Declutter your workspace. Start by removing any unnecessary items from your desk. Keep only the tools and documents you need for your current tasks. A clean, organized space helps reduce distractions and makes it easier to focus on the work at hand. Organize your digital files. Your digital workspace is just as important as your physical one. Take the time to organize your computer files and folders so you can easily find what you need without wasting time searching. Consider creating a simple folder structure for your projects and using naming conventions that make files easy to identify. Manage your inbox. An overflowing inbox can be a constant source of stress. Try to keep your inbox organized by using folders or labels to sort incoming emails. You can also practice Inbox Zero, a method where you aim to keep your inbox empty or close to empty by regularly processing and filing emails. Taking breaks to recharge. When you're under pressure at work, it can be tempting to push through without taking breaks. But the truth is, your brain needs regular breaks to stay sharp and focused. Taking short breaks throughout the day can actually increase your productivity and help you stay mentally clear. Here's how to take effective breaks. Step away from your desk. During your breaks, get up and move away from your desk. Stretch, take a walk, or do something that gets you physically moving. This helps clear your mind and re-energizes you for the next block of work. Use breaks for mindful breathing. If you're feeling particularly stressed or overwhelmed, use your breaks to practice mindful breathing. Just a few minutes of deep, focused breathing can help calm your nervous system and bring your mind back to a place of clarity. Set a timer for breaks. It's easy to lose track of time when you're in the middle of a busy workday. Set a timer to remind yourself to take short breaks every hour or two. Even just 5 minutes of stepping away from your work can make a big difference in your mental state. Creating a mental detox routine at work. Now that you've learned how to manage tasks, interruptions, and stress, it's time to create a daily routine that supports mental clarity at work. By incorporating small, intentional habits into your workday, you can maintain a clearer mind and reduce the mental clutter that builds up during busy times. Here's a simple routine to try. Start with a brain dump and prioritization. At the beginning of each day, do a quick brain dump of everything you need to do. Then prioritize your tasks using the Eisenhower matrix or the rule of 3. Time block for deep work. Set aside specific blocks of time for your most important tasks. Use this time for focused, uninterrupted work and save less critical tasks for later in the day. Take regular breaks. Schedule short breaks throughout your day to recharge. Use this time to step away from your desk, stretch, or practice mindful breathing. End your day with a quick review. At the end of the day, take a few minutes to review what you've accomplished and plan for the next day. This helps you leave work feeling organized and ready for what's ahead. Conclusion: staying clear under pressure. Clearing your mind at work isn't just about reducing stress. It's about creating a routine that allows you to stay productive and focused, even under pressure. By prioritizing effectively, managing interruptions, and taking regular breaks, you can keep your mind clear and your work on track. Imagine walking into work each day feeling calm, organized, and ready to tackle your tasks without feeling overwhelmed. With these strategies, you can make that a reality and create a work environment that supports both your mental clarity and success. Chapter 10, Creating an Information Clean Space. As we reach the final chapter of this journey toward mental clarity and information detox, it's time to talk about creating a lasting solution, an information clean space. This isn't just about decluttering your physical or digital environment. It's about creating a mindset and a lifestyle that protects your mind from constant overload. In this chapter, we'll explore how to build an environment that encourages focus, reduces distractions, and helps you stay mentally clear in the long term. You've already taken steps to reduce information noise and manage distractions. But to sustain this new clarity, you need to design a space, both physical and mental, that supports a clean flow of information. This chapter will guide you through practical steps to maintain a detoxed environment, helping you create a sanctuary for your mind where only the most important and meaningful information enters. Practical steps to declutter your physical space. Your physical surroundings play a huge role in how well you can concentrate and stay mentally clear. When your desk is cluttered or your office space is filled with distractions, it's much harder to stay focused on the tasks that matter. Here are a few ways to declutter your physical space and create a more conducive environment for mental clarity. Start with a clean desk. A cluttered desk equals a cluttered mind. Begin by removing any unnecessary items from your desk or workspace. Keep only the essentials: your computer, a notebook, a pen, and maybe one or two other tools you need for the day's work. By keeping your desk clean and organized, you'll reduce visual distractions and free up a mental space. Create a dedicated work zone. If possible, designate a specific area in your home or office as your work zone. This space should be free of distractions like TVs, unnecessary gadgets, or personal clutter. When you enter your work zone, your brain will start to associate that space with focus and productivity, making it easier to get into a deep work mindset. Keep your environment simple. Minimalism isn't just about having fewer things. It's about creating an environment where everything has a purpose. Keep your workspace simple and functional with only the items you truly need. This helps reduce the mental load of decision-making and keeps your focus on the work at hand. Use visual cues for focus. Visual cues can help reinforce your focus and remind you of your priorities. For example, you might place a sticky note with your top 3 tasks for the day on your monitor, or hang an inspiring quote on the wall in your workspace. These cues can serve as gentle reminders to stay on track and avoid distractions. Organizing your digital space. In today's digital age, your computer, phone, and online environment are just as important as your physical surroundings. A cluttered digital space, whether it's an overflowing inbox, a chaotic file system, or too many open tabs, can overwhelm your mind and pull you in too many directions. Here's how to declutter and organize your digital space. Create a logical file structure. Start by organizing your files into clearly labeled folders. Avoid leaving important documents scattered across your desktop or downloads folder. Instead, create a simple folder hierarchy that makes it easy to find what you need. For example, you might have folders for work projects, personal documents, and reference materials, with subfolders for specific topics. Clean up your desktop. Your desktop should be a clean and clutter-free space. Try to keep it clear of icons and files, using it only as a temporary workspace for projects you're actively working on. Once a project is finished, file the documents away in your organized folder structure. Tame your browser tabs. Too many open tabs in your web browser can create a sense of chaos and make it difficult to focus. Use tools like OneTab to consolidate your tabs or bookmark pages for later. This reduces the mental load of managing multiple sources of information at once. Manage your email inbox. We've all experienced the overwhelm of an overflowing inbox. To maintain an information-clean space, create a system for managing your emails. Use folders, filters, or labels to sort incoming messages, and aim for inbox 0 at the end of each day. When new emails arrive, deal with them immediately. Either reply, delegate, file, or delete, so that your inbox doesn't become a source of stress. Minimize digital distractions. Your phone and computer are filled with apps, notifications, and alerts that constantly compete for your attention. Take control of your digital environment by turning off non-essential notifications, using apps like Focus or Freedom to block distracting websites, and setting designated times for checking email or social media. Creating a mental environment for clarity. While decluttering your physical and digital space is important, it's equally crucial to declutter your mind. You've already learned several strategies throughout this book for reducing mental overload, but creating a lasting information clean space requires continuous mindfulness and intentionality. Here's how to maintain mental clarity in your daily life. Practice mindfulness daily. Mindfulness is one of the best ways to keep your mental space clear and focused. By practicing mindfulness, whether through meditation, deep breathing, or simply being present in the moment, you can train your mind to focus on the here and now, rather than getting lost in a whirlwind of thoughts and distractions. Limit the time you spend consuming content. Set boundaries for how much time you spend consuming information each day. For example, you might limit your news reading to 30 minutes in the morning, or set specific times during the day to check social media. By setting these limits, you can protect your mental space from becoming overwhelmed by the constant flow of information. Schedule downtime. Just as you schedule time for work, it's important to schedule regular breaks and downtime. Use this time to rest, recharge, and engage in activities that nourish your mind and body. Downtime allows your brain to process information and reduces the risk of burnout. Build reflection into your routine. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to reflect on what you've accomplished and what still needs attention. This practice helps you clear your mind before bed and ensures that you're starting the next day with a clean slate. You can also use this time to check in with your goals and adjust your focus if necessary. Surrounding yourself with positive and useful information. The final piece of creating an information-clean space is being selective about the information you allow into your life. You've already taken steps to reduce low-quality information, but now it's time to focus on surrounding yourself with positive and useful content. Curate your news and social media feeds. Social media and news platforms often bombard us with negative or sensationalized stories. Take control of your feeds by unfollowing accounts that contribute to this negativity. Instead, follow people, organizations, and sources that inspire you, educate you, or align with your values. Choose uplifting and educational content. When you consume content, aim for materials that leave you feeling energized, informed, or inspired. This could be podcasts, books, or videos that challenge your thinking, introduce new ideas, or uplift your mood. Surrounding yourself with positive and useful content helps keep your mental sheet clean and focused on what truly matters. Limit negative input. It's inevitable that you'll encounter some negative information in your daily life, but it's important to limit how much of it you allow in. When you find yourself faced with toxic or unhelpful content, whether online or in conversations, step away or change the subject. Protecting your mental environment from negativity is key to maintaining long-term clarity. Conclusion: maintaining an information-clean space for the long term. Creating and maintaining an information-clean space isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous process that requires awareness, intention, and action. By decluttering your physical, digital, and mental environments, you're building a foundation for long-term mental clarity and well-being. Imagine living in a space where your mind feels calm, your thoughts are clear, and only the most important information flows into your life. This is the power of an information-clean space. You have the tools to make this a reality, and by applying the strategies we've explored throughout this book, you can create a life that's free from the chaos of information overload. Conclusion: the path to lasting mental clarity. As we come to the end of this journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. You've learned how to identify the sources of information noise, manage the overwhelming flow of content, prioritize what truly matters, and detox both your mind and body. You've developed strategies for reducing stress, improving focus, and creating an environment, both physical and digital, that supports lasting mental clarity. But the most important takeaway from this book is that mental detox is an ongoing process. It's not something you do once and forget about. In the same way you would maintain your physical health through regular exercise and a balanced diet, your mental well-being requires constant care and attention. The modern world is filled with distractions, but with the right tools and mindset, you can protect your mind from the overload and create space for what truly matters. Let's revisit some of the core principles that will help you maintain this clarity. 1. Be intentional with your information consumption. At the heart of mental detox is the idea of intentionality. You've learned how to curate your information diet, focus on high-quality content, and filter out the noise. Going forward, continue to be mindful about what you allow into your mind. Whether it's the news, social media, or conversations, ask yourself, is this valuable? Does it align with my goals and values? When you're intentional with your information consumption, you protect your mental space and ensure that you're only focusing on what adds value to your life. Prioritize what truly matters. Throughout this book, we've explored various techniques for prioritization, from the Eisenhower matrix to the rule of 3. These tools help you distinguish between urgent and important tasks, allowing you to focus your time and energy on what really matters. Remember, you don't have to do everything at once. By focusing on the tasks and information that align with your goals, you'll find that your work becomes more meaningful and less stressful. Prioritization is key to managing mental overload and staying productive without feeling overwhelmed. 3. Practice mindfulness and rest. Mindfulness isn't just a trendy buzzword. It's a powerful practice that helps stay grounded in the present moment. By integrating mindfulness into your daily routine, whether through meditation, deep breathing, or simply being aware of your thoughts, you can create a mental environment that fosters clarity and calm. Equally important is rest. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel like you should always be on, but giving your brain time to rest and recover is crucial. Whether through short breaks during the day, quality sleep, or intentional downtime, rest is an essential part of maintaining mental clarity. 4. Create an information-clean space. One of the most tangible ways to support your mental clarity is by decluttering your physical and digital environments. A clean, organized space allows your mind to focus on the task at hand without being distracted by unnecessary items or digital clutter. Continue to make this a priority. Keep your workspace clear, organize your digital files, and regularly clean up your email inbox. When your environment is free of distractions, your mind will follow suit. 5. Build healthy habits for long-term success. The journey to mental detox doesn't end here. It's a lifelong practice of developing and maintaining healthy habits that protect your mental well-being. As you move forward, keep these habits in mind. Regularly review and adjust your information diet. Set boundaries with technology and social media. Prioritize meaningful work and tasks. Take time for mindfulness and reflection. Keep your physical and digital spaces organized. By committing to these habits, you'll be better equipped to handle the constant flow of information and maintain the clarity you've worked so hard to achieve. Final thoughts. Your mental clarity is in your hands. In the end, achieving mental clarity isn't about following a strict set of rules or cutting yourself off from the world. It's about taking control of your mind and your environment. It's about making conscious decisions every day to protect your mental space. Focus on what's important and eliminate the distractions that pull you away from your goals. Remember, you have the power to shape your mental environment. The tools and strategies you've learned in this book are designed to help you navigate the modern world with clarity, intention, and peace of mind. You don't have to be overwhelmed by information. You can choose what to let in, how to process it, and when to step away. As you leave this book behind and continue your journey, I encourage you to stay committed to your mental well-being. Practice the techniques you've learned, adjust them to fit your life, and make mental clarity a priority. The world around you may be noisy, but your mind can remain clear, focused, and free. Thank you for joining me on this path to mental detox. Now, it's time to take what you've learned and create the life of focus, clarity, and calm that you deserve.